Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel Defense Updates and News. So let's start today's top major defense news. LCA Tejas production will be delayed. Army to procure 10,000 helmets which can stop AK-47 rounds. Indian Army looks at structural changes in its headquarters by Independence Day. Drdo develops p-7 heavy drop system for para-drop of military stores. Indian Army will procure lightweight battle tanks. India to acquire Israeli heron drones. Army to place repeat orders for spiked missiles from Israel. Indian Army is eyeing a mini suicide drones from Israel. 2 months of lockdown at the LCA Tejas production facility were not enough to derail the schedule of the production of the FOC configured LCA Tejas Mk1. Poor management of the LCA Tejas supply chain has come as an additional headache for state-owned Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, which is in charge of the LCA Tejas Mk1, is now also facing issues with the first two FOC configured aircraft which already has been assembled. The Indian Air Force IAF is facing some quality issues but majorly teething issues with the new FOC configured LCA Tejas Mk1, which are equipped with new equipment, due to which delivery of further aircraft has been put on hold till these technical issues are resolved. Along with supply chain issues, vehicle due to pandemic has affected to supply chain, mostly coming from the MSME sector, which is severely affected due to shortage of manpower. HAL claims it has enough components to assemble 5 more Tejas Mk1. It will still require to identify and see alternatives to few of the supply vendors if they are not able to resume supply of components soon. Some imported parts and equipment which were stuck due to international lockdown will resume soon as international partners have resumed work. That teething issues were expected as the aircraft are new and are way different when it comes to onboard equipment than the 16 IOC configured LCA Tejas Mk1 which were manufactured earlier, and HAL is confident it will be resolved to the satisfaction of the end user IAF soon, but time lost will not be recovered in the process, which will make it very difficult for HAL to deliver 8 LCA Tejas Mk1 for financial year 2020-2021 as per original delivery schedule. Enhancing the personal protection of its soldiers, the Indian Army has begun the process to acquire 10,000 AK-47 protected helmets. It will be one of the world's largest procurement of these specialized ballistic helmets. On June 23, the Army's Infantry Directorate kicked off the process by issuing a request for information on Indian and global helmet manufacturers. The Directorate also conducted a preliminary meeting with a handful of helmet manufacturers in New Delhi. On July 13, the request for proposal will be issued in February next year. The budget for the procurement is not known, but assuming each helmet costs rupees 50,000, the Army could be looking at a raise 500 crore order. The new helmets will replace the bulletproof patka that has been in service since the 1990s and the stopgap helmet supplied by the Kanpur-based MKU in 2018. Each AK-47 bullet flies at nearly twice the speed of sound and delivers a massive 2000 joules of kinetic energy that can inflict fatal trauma even on victims wearing body armor and helmets. Recent advances in ballistic technologies have created a helmet capable of reducing the impact of an AK-47 round to less than 10 joules. The Army's new helmet will have to support various accessories like night vision goggles, a torch visors and face shields. More importantly, it has asked for the new helmet to protect against the AK-47 7.62 into 39 mm milled steel core and hard steel core bullets. From 10 meter milled steel core bullets are most commonly used, while hard steel core rounds are designed to penetrate metal and body armor. The Indian Army wants far-reaching structural changes in its headquarters, and preferably by Independence Day. Several major decisions like moving the Rashtriya Rifles headquarters out of Delhi have already been implemented, but the effort to modernize the Indian Army continues. Several major changes are on the anvil. The human rights or HR issues. It has been proposed would be dealt with by the Army Vice Chief. There will be a third Deputy Chief of Army Staff. There are currently two looking after procurement of weapons and training respectively. The third Deputy Chief or DCOS strategy will handle the Additional Director General Public Information and office headed by a Major General that deals with media. He will also be involved in information warfare. Currently with military operation, the Master General of Ordnance or MGO will now be a Master General Sustenance. A large number of maintenance issues will be dealt with the MGS. The WE or Weapons and Equipment section will now be called the Capability Development, and Capital Purchase will come under this section headed by one of the Deputy Chiefs. It may also decided on GSQRS or General Qualitative Requirements. This is roughly what the Army's requirement is vis-a-vis a weapon system. A vigilance department has also been planned. This is a government requirement and has to be done. This could include representatives from the other services, the Navy and the Air Force, and also from the police. Meanwhile, the plan to ready integrated battle groups, each one headed by a Major General, has already begun. Two are on their way to being formed. They of course are not part of the changes in army headquarters. Engaged in a boundary dispute with China in eastern Ladakh, India is planning to enhance its surveillance capabilities and firepower by placing orders for heron surveillance drones and spike anti-tank guided missiles from Israel. Under the emergency financial powers granted by the government, the Heron unmanned aerial vehicle are already in the Air Force, Navy and Army and are being used extensively at the moment by both Army surveillance and target acquisition batteries and Air Force in the Ladakh sector. There is a need for acquisition of Heron UAVs to add to the existing fleet of these drones. For meeting the requirements of our Air Force fleet, we are planning to place orders for these UAVs. Government sources told ANI here without specifying the numbers to be procured. The Heron has been serviced with the 3 defense wings for several years now and can fly continuously for more than 2 days at a stage providing reconnaissance from an altitude of more than 10 kilometers. The forces are also working towards inducting an armed version of the UAV as well as upgrading the existing fleet into combat UAVs under the ambitious Project Cheetah spearheaded by the Indian Air Force. Drdo has developed p-7 heavy drop system which is capable of para-dropping military stores up to 7-ton weight from IL-76 aircraft. This system is fully indigenous and being manufactured by the L&T, who makes the platform system and parachutes manufactured by Ordnance Factory. The center has allowed the Indian Army to make an emergency procurement of lightweight tanks that can be deployed in high altitude conditions amid border tensions with China. The Economic Times has reported reintroduction of light tanks is being seen as a boost for India's armed forces as they are more nimble than the heavier main battle tank. The report suggested the decision was reportedly made after China's deploy the new Type 15 light tanks along the line of actual control. In eastern Ladakh, the Indian Defense Forces want tanks that can be transported by air. This can be landed or airdropped directly at forward locations quickly. This is critical as unlike China, India has not been able to develop elaborate road networks along the border yet. Air bases have comes up at forward locations. The Hindustan Times reported on Monday that the Indian Army is looking to acquire 2 kinds of miniature unmanned aerial vehicles. One type of UAV is the US-built RQ-11 UAV, meant to fly at altitude of around 500 feet and provide intelligence about enemy's position and troop movements. The other type of weapon eyed by the Indian Army is the Firefly loitering munition built by Israel's Rafale. In simple language, a loitering munition is a UAV that carries a warhead to attack a target on the ground while flying over. Loitering over the war zone. Loitering munitions have been around for decade now, with Israel considered to be the pioneer of such suicide drones. While the early generation of loitering munitions were meant to attack air defense radars, newer system can hit multiple types of target on the ground, including enemy personnel in entrenched position. The Indian Air Force operates the Israeli-made Harpy loitering munition, and it's upgraded the version. The Harop India is believed to have first purchased the Harop in 2009 in a deal worth 100 million. According to the Jerusalem Post, loitering munitions like the Harpy and Harop can loiter for up to 6 hours and have sophisticated sensors. The Harop has a 23 kg warhead. In comparison, the Firefly drones has a total weight of 3 kg. With a 350-gram warhead, according to a Rafale broker, the Firefly has 2 sets of rotors. Rafale claims a kit comprising 3 Firefly loitering munitions and their associated equipment weight 15 kg. The use of rotors like a helicopter negates the need for catapults or launch rockets to get the UAV airborne. The Firefly can fit in a backpack. The battery powered Firefly can conduct both surveillance and attack missions and can thus be recovered after use. According to Rafale, it has an endurance of 15 minutes when carrying a warhead. The endurance can be doubled if the warhead is replaced with a second battery. The Firefly has a published range of 500 meters for urban combat and a range of 1000 meters for open areas. The Firefly can be controlled by a data link by a soldier who has a tablet. A US publication traced the evolution of the Firefly to multiple conflicts, including the Six-Day War of SRNET 1967 between Israel and Arab nations. So thank you for watching, guys. If you like my video, please do like, share and subscribe to my channel. Thank you and Jai Hind.